How's it going, everyone? Texas Man here, back with another video. I hope that you guys are all having a wonderful day. If you guys would, please give this video a thumbs up if you guys do enjoy it. Subscribe, of course, if you guys have not already. Also, do me the biggest favor of all, make sure you guys hit that bell notification button. Select all for all notifications so you guys don't miss out on future content here on the channel. And as always, if you guys have any movies, shows, or games you guys want me to cover here on the channel, please let me know in the comment section down below. You guys can also find me on Twitch at Douglas447. I stream there regularly, whether it's Call of Duty, Battlefield, Halo, Destiny 2, or other RPG or FPS games of the like. In this video, we're going to be talking about Doctor Who Season 2, Episode 3, titled The Well. This, of course, is part of Ncuti Gatwa's era, and this dropped recently. I don't know why they're doing this, dropping Doctor Who on Saturdays, but, like, it's just weird. Yeah, I don't understand the whole dropping it on Saturday. Like, Disney Plus is just weird when they drop new content. Like, you know, we're getting Star Wars Andor on Tuesday/Wednesday, depending on your time region. And then, you know, we're getting Doctor Who on Saturday, and sometimes we'll get new additions, new, like, you know, movies and stuff added on Wednesday and Friday. It's so complicated and confusing. It's hard to keep track of when new stuff is coming. I remember when, you know, it was just new stuff was only on Friday being released when it came to streaming, and now it's just like, it seems like every day there's something new, and it's just somewhat of a nightmare to keep track of, honestly. Yeah, it's not always fun. Yeah, not the greatest thing in the world, I'll tell you that much. Anywho, we're going to be talking positives and negatives talking about this episode. So the first negative I want to talk about is the fact that the Doctor is still gay. Like, literally at the very beginning of this episode, they just make it clear that he is still gay. Like, he literally calls this random soldier, sweetheart. And then he's like, don't call me sweetheart. And then the Doctor's like, okay, honey. And I'm like, and this other soldier is a guy. And I'm just like, could you be any more on the nose about your sexuality? It's just there to just remind you that the Doctor's still gay because Russell T Davies co-wrote this episode. And you can tell he co-wrote this episode because this episode, if you've seen the trailers and you're like, The Well, like, this looks very familiar to an episode from David Tennant's era of the Doctor. Of him visiting that planet Midnight when he goes down a shaft and there's some evil monster. I think that's the first episode that the Ood are introduced. It was cool to be back on Planet Midnight, and have that little tie-in. The biggest problem comes from the fact that this episode is not just like, hey, remember all these cool things from the past, you know? Like, you know, 10 plus years ago? Yeah, we're going to do that episode again, but worse. Like, this episode makes it clear that women are just smarter than men. Like, they make the second in command of this platoon that gets sent to investigate this base. Like, the second in command is the guy, and he just makes the most stupidest decisions, even though the first in command is a woman, and, you know, she just relies on the Doctor to be good for wisdom and advice, and she keeps making all the right calls, and at the end it just kills her, and it's just like, really? Like it just, this episode treats all men as morons. And there's even a whole mutiny sequence, and I'm just like, it's literally two men, and they try to kill this evil monster thing, and how they go about trying to do it is just dumb, because they're like, oh, we're just gonna do this pincer maneuver and shoot and hope we get the thing, and I'm just like, I didn't like it. The episode takes place 5,000 years in the future, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it changes a lot of lore by saying humans will exist then, and I'm pretty sure that, you know, eventually humanity just stops existing, and eventually the galaxy just implodes on itself. Correct me if I'm wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's what happens in Doctor Who lore. This horror episode, honestly, like I said, it's very unoriginal, very uninspiring. It's very similar to that episode that David Tennant had, but somehow this episode feels just worse. Like, it feels so ripped from the Alien franchise. And what I mean by that is that this episode is literally a platoon of soldiers get sent to investigate a base that goes radio silent for, like, you know, 2 weeks or so. And this base is on a planet. It's extremely dark and lifeless because of radiation or whatever. And of course, because of that, it's perfect for mining diamonds. And I'm just like the whole premise, the whole setup for this movie, for this episode, is literally aliens, just done in the Doctor Who universe. The soldiers even say, like one of them literally says, "If there's nobody alive, we'll just nuke the site from orbit." I'm like, that is clearly just ripped straight from Aliens. I just, oh. Also, this episode makes it where somehow the nurse, and that's what I'm going to call her character, because I honestly don't remember her name. I think it's Belle, but, the episode just keeps, the show just like, yeah, she's the nurse. And I'm like, okay. So somehow the nurse not being on Earth in 2025, after the Doctor, takes her away, somehow has changed future events drastically. Like, Earth isn't around. It's not part of the Federation. And I'm just like, wow, so this one girl is super important for this whole planet. I'm like, haven't we seen this before? It just feels weird. The ending, kind of emotional, and then it kind of does this whole 360, like, oh no, the villain of this episode didn't actually get shot down a reactor shaft. It's still alive! And they're just like, oh great, so that thing's just going to float around in space and cause more problems. I hope it's not one of those cliffhanger endings that never gets resolved. Like, I want that thing to get resolved. Last thing I want to talk about, and I talked about this in the past episode review, there's still no main villain for this show, somehow, still. I'm like, so we're still going on this whole, we're just going to have these one-off adventures every episode kind of thing, and if that's what the whole season's going to be, I guess I'm gonna have to accept it. I don't want to, but it is what it is. This episode's a lot better than the last episode from last week, but not by much. If they would stop being lazy and come up with some original good sci-fi stuff and not tell stories that I've seen 100 times and remove the fact that the Doctor's gay, then I would probably be able to give these episodes easy 8 and 9s. But I can't do that. So, yeah. I'm going to have to give this episode a 7. Hopefully next week will be better. Apparently Ruby Sunday is going to be making an appearance in next week's episode. And considering, like I said, I only watched 3 episodes of Season 1 of Ncuti Gat Wazera, we'll see how that goes. Because I kind of tried to burn that season out of my head, even though I only watched 3 of the episodes. Because it was so shite. So, yeah, 7 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.